feeling cold against your skin. Running through the chaos, letting all the sin. Temptation in a bottle, ready for the night. Craving for the thrill, it's time to ignite. Dark desires burning bright. Echoes in the dead of night. No retreat, no looking back on this heart attack.
Good evening, my ladies and gentlemen. Hey, it is great to be back here tonight. Very sad news out of Gloucester about this ship, the Lily James, going under. Not the story that I think we would all, the Lily James, the Lily Jean, good work, Ping. The Lily Jean, very sad news. I actually been following this for like the last 24 hours or so. And the reason I'm covering it tonight is in the last couple of hours, the Coast Guard held a press conference to say that they are basically calling off the search for any survivors. They spent the last 24 hours combing the ocean surface looking for the other 6 people. They did find one person on the original night when they had the distress call go out. And we'll talk a bit more about that in a second. They found one person on the surface of the water, but they were deceased. They went looking for the other lot of people and were unfortunately unable to locate any other people alive or dead, unfortunately. It's a really sad situation, and I just want to load this up and then we'll get going. Where did that go? Okay. All right. We're going to watch a video from a local news channel up in Boston way, and we're going to watch the update for the Coast Guard about them suspending the search, which is a real shame, How you guys going tonight, everyone out there? Did you have fun at the book club? Did you have fun? Did you book some things? Did you have some fun? Is that what you did? It's good to be back here tonight. 7 on board total. 6 of them were fishermen. One of them was a NOAA worker. So the person from NOAA goes out to do study of like what they're catching, how is the stock in the water, and they use it as a tool to determine how much they should allow people to catch. Is the ocean recovering? Is there enough fish and that type of thing? So that's sort of what they do. Let's watch the update from the news up in Boston. If I can get back to my thing. Here we go.
All right, first at 6 here, you're looking at video from Sky Ranger over Gloucester as we continue to follow the tragedy that's unfolded off the coast there. The U.S. Coast Guard has now suspended the search for 6 missing people after a fishing boat sank off the coast of Cape Ann yesterday morning. Thanks for joining us here on your Saturday evening. I'm Amelia Fabiano. So one person, a crew member, was found dead in the water yesterday. This loss, though, has hit the community so incredibly hard as Gloucester is one of the largest fishing ports in the country. It is a way of life there for these people and their families. NBC 10's Aaron Logan joins us live there where the Coast Guard gave an update on that tragedy and the search suspension earlier today. Aaron, can you catch us up to speed on that?
Well, Amelia, you could see just how incredibly difficult it was for the Coast Guard to make that announcement about suspending the search. There were so many factors, of course, the cold being one of them. Senator Bruce Tarr nearly brought to tears, asking everyone in the community to do their part and be there for all those affected.
This tragedy is felt deeply, not only amongst the families and the loved ones of those aboard the Lily Jean.
U.S. Coast Guard Captain Jamie Frederick giving an update that the Gloucester community feared, but knew deep down was inevitable.
This is an incredibly difficult and painstaking decision. But based on the totality of the circumstances, including the frigid water and air temperatures, the length of the time since the vessel sank, the recovery of one crew member not wearing a survival suit, and the discovery of an empty life raft, and the exhaustive scope of the search, I believe there is no longer a reasonable expectation that anyone could have survived this long.
Friday morning, an emergency beacon activated after the 72-foot fishing vessel Lily Jean went down 25 miles off the coast of Cape Ann.
That beacon is not activated necessarily by a human action. It is programmed to activate automatically when it senses water.
The coast.
All right, so let's talk about what is an EPIRB. So an EPIRB is it's almost a last resort. It's a last resort to get a distress call out. And depending on the ship, a lot of them put it on the highest point on the ship so that if that point gets underwater and it activates, like, you know, there's something really messed up going on because the highest part on the ship should not be underwater. And it sounds like that is what happened here, that this EPIRB went off when it touched the water, indicating that the ship was basically submerged. That's not a good thing because you have to ask the question at 10 to 7 in the morning, why was there not a radio call out for a mayday or, you know, to the Coast Guard? But there was nothing. No satellite phone, no radio, nothing. So it's very concerning. And the other detail is when that helicopter originally responded to the EPIRB and went out there, they located a debris field on the water. Some of it was things from the boat that float. So things when the ship goes underwater, the heavy stuff goes down, and things that float stay on the surface. But they said that they noticed parts of the ship broken up on the surface of the water. So what could take out a ship of that size and break it up that quickly to the point where the Coast Guard and the person who responded in the helicopter would have been able to see parts of the ship on the surface of the water already? What happened on this ship to make it, one, go down, two, there was a life raft that was deployed, but there was no one inside of the life raft. So you beg the question is like someone obviously deployed that life raft, but no one got into it. So there was unfortunately no people that made it into that, you know, could have saved their lives if they made it. Only one person, that one person they found on the surface of the water was located and returned to land. The sad thing here is that this ship was actually on its way back home. They were actually coming into port. They were heading back because they had an equipment malfunction and they were coming back in to get that looked at and fixed. And they were very close to home, not that far. I think it was like 25 nautical miles off the coast. A few hours, they would have been home. So it's very devastating to be that close to home, already heading back in. They weren't doing any fishing operations. They had shut up and they were going to go back in, and to not make it back is, you know, there's just so many questions you have to ask. How did this unfold? Why is there no survivors? What went that terribly wrong in such a small space of time where an experienced crew, the captain is multiple decades of experience on the water. This guy would have known what to do in an emergency. And for something overcame that entire crew. Sean, I think it was. And I think someone would have had to deploy it. I don't think it would have been one that just went off in an emergency. I think someone would have had to pull the tab. So someone did try to get off that boat. Hey, Cat Ride, how are you? What time did this happen? It was very early in the morning, about 10 to 7. So 10 to 7 a.m. So 6:50 in the morning, very early in the morning. Blaze says it must have been an explosion. I was thinking that it might have been fire, which might explain why there was debris on top of the surface that might have been part of the boat. Maybe there was an uncontrollable fire. Maybe it was part of the equipment malfunction. I don't know. I don't want to wish that on anyone. I just want to find out why it happened. Not wish a horrible death on someone. I just, would like to know why. Sean said, didn't you say no, they didn't make it back to shore? No. One person was recovered from the water, but they were deceased. They were not alive. They found them and they were not with us anymore. JDR said a missile from another country. Off the coast of Boston? I don't know. Maybe if it was in a different place. Maybe in the Caribbean or something. JDR said no time to call for a MEDA. Doesn't seem like it. Rachel said that tells me the captain didn't have time to call for help. Yeah, it sounds like whatever happened very quickly. Very quickly. I heard this theory being bandied about a rogue wave. I mean, it's very possible. I've watched quite a few documentaries on rogue waves and what they can do, and they can roll a boat. So they can actually hit a boat on the broadside of the boat and roll it upside down. That may have been why there is no one else that they can find, is because it completely rolled that boat upside down, making that EPIRB become underwater. And by the time someone got out there, the boat was no longer there, and they could only see what that debris field on top of the water. It is a possibility. Mrs. Ping was saying, could there be icebergs out there? But I don't know if there would be that off that coast. I mean, it's possible. I mean, it is icy cold up there right now. I'm not sure if they have icebergs in that water, but I'm not sure. Marilander said something catastrophic happened very fast. Definitely. For them not to be able to reach the satellite phone or the radio, to leave it to the EPIRB to be the last line of telling anyone. Yeah, it definitely tells me that that something happened very fast. Carolina said first sub sunk in Charleston, the Hunley. Okay, I don't know what that means, but sure. Kim said my time said 9:30. Okay. Yeah, I don't think he had time. Hey, Juicy Jules, how are you? Oh, it's in a museum where you are? Don't know. We don't know much about anything because they don't even know where it is. They don't know where the ship is located. Yeah. Hold on, guys. All right. 7 minutes from now? Yeah, I started a little early because people were waiting. All right, let me see what else I can find on this. Okay. You guys watch. Is there any more? Yeah, you guys watch the rest of this, and I'm going to pull up some more information.
Coast Guard says a helicopter arrived on scene 40 minutes later and found a debris field and the unresponsive crew member entangled in gear, as well as an empty life raft.
They searched all day. They searched all night. They searched again in the early hours of this day. I don't have the words to fully express our gratitude to these folks for what they've done for our community and what they do for our commercial fishing industry every day.
Senator Bruce Tarr and Gloucester Mayor Paul Lundberg say this situation is heart-wrenching, and they'll do anything and everything to support the community.
Everyone in our community knows someone who's involved in this tragedy and involved in this industry.
Right now, at this hour, the Coast Guard is meeting with all of the families of those affected to answer some questions. There are still a lot of unanswered questions, and the Northeast Coast Guard continues to investigate along with the NTSB. Coming up tonight at 11, we'll hear.
Yep. So apparently, the Coast Guard and the NTSB have started a thorough investigation into maybe trying to find some answers, but so far they don't have very many. I do have a little bit of information here. Actually, one thing they said in that press conference that I hadn't heard before is that the the soul that they found on top of the water that was wrapped in gear. I had not heard that yet, that that particular person was found basically entangled in either netting or, ropes or something like that from the ship. So I'm not sure what happened to that poor person, but that is a awful way to go. And if you ever wonder what it's like in these communities, when you live by the water and people work and interact with the water for all types of things, whether it be for fishing, whether it be for other economy, it becomes a part of their lives. And the fishermen that come and go from shore, from port to the ocean and back, they are a big part of the town. They're a big part of the area. And anytime they have someone lost at sea like this, it is a area-wide mourning. They're like sons and daughters of the entire area, and to lose them is a proper tragedy. Like, it shouldn't happen, but it is a very dangerous industry, very dangerous. Especially, you can see behind her just how cold it is on land. You can imagine how cold it is outside on the ocean. It will be even worse. You get these nor'easters that come up. They uh, they have a notorious reputation for being unwieldy for captains, for ships, for everyone. They do a lot of damage. So a very, very sad situation. So the Lily Jean was a 72-foot scallop boat, and they sent out an automated distress signal about 6:50 a.m. on Friday, 25 miles from shore. See, they weren't that far from home. The rescue crews located a debris field in the vicinity of where that EPIRB, where it came from, where that signal went up. They went to that exact location and they found that debris field. One unresponsive body was recovered from the water. A life raft associated with the vessel was found, but it was found unoccupied. On Saturday afternoon, it was announced that the search had been called off. Crews had covered roughly 1,000 square miles using multiple aircraft, cutters, and small boats over that 24-hour period. They're saying here, after consultation between search and rescue and on-scene commanders, the Coast Guard announced Saturday that it had determined that all reasonable search efforts for the remaining crew members had been exhausted. And one of the things they were talking about is, in the conditions in the water, the temperature of the water, and the possibilities of a human going down with the ship and being either, so they have a suit they can wear that can keep them alive in the water for a period of time, or it's possible they were not wearing them either. There are two different timelines they have to look at: one with the suit, which would be the longest, and one without, which is minutes. It would probably be measured in minutes, if not a single hour. The one in the suit, I think, is a little bit longer, and that's what it's designed for. Um, but they're saying that time frame had now run out. That if you were in that water for over 24 hours, the chance of survival would be zero. That even if they found them, there would be no survivors. So if they hadn't found them by now, it's unfortunate, but they are deceased. They are not with us any longer. Um, Here, let me try and show you the type of suit that they wear. So they wear like these. I'm just trying to find one of the. Yeah, I don't know if it's this one. There's a couple of types, and I don't know which one they're required to wear. But there's a couple of different ones that they can. It's called a survival suit, and I don't know if they wear them on the deck or I'm not sure. But here's an example. So it is supposed to keep you floating on the water top, and it's supposed to keep that cold water from giving you hypothermia and killing you. So it depends whether they were able to get to them. It depends whether they were either wearing them or not. There's a lot of like, what if, what if? Um, Sean says, what was the weather like at the time? It was brutal. The weather was not good. Let me see if I can find like exactly what it was. Well, let's have a look, Lily. Let me see. Uh-huh. At the time of the incident, air temperature was around 6 degrees Fahrenheit with wind chills down below zero. Water temperature was approximately 40 degrees, according to local weather data. So that is your local temperatures. So very, very, very cold. I don't know what the survivability in 40-degree water temperatures would be, but I wouldn't think it would be very long, especially with that wind chill, which was below zero at the time. Um, yeah, so not easy conditions to be in at all. Very, very difficult. Let me see what else we have here. So the captain of that boat, his name was Gus, and he was a well-known guy in the area. Had even been on a documentary crew. It's called Nor'easter Men. I can't say I've ever watched that particular one, although I have watched a lot of fishing type shows before. That's not one that I've seen, but I maybe will watch it after this. Here's a photo of him. There you go. There's a photo of him and some of his crew and a lot of fish on board. Look like they had a good day that day. So very, very sad. Wave height. I don't think I have a reading for it, unfortunately. Let's see. They're saying here wave height was around 4 feet at the time. Winds were blowing 24 to 30 miles per hour, 21 to 26 knots. Air temperature was around a minus 11 Celsius or 12 degrees Fahrenheit. Water temperature was 39 degrees Fahrenheit or 4 degrees Celsius. A freezing spray advisory was in effect at the time, and that is like where the water sprays onto the boat and it freezes like that. So you get these um, waves that spray all over the boat, and the whole boat basically becomes like an ice block. It is pretty common. They're saying here there was dangerous weather conditions at the time that included a nor'easter approaching the east coast. So there was pretty awful conditions at that hour, and it was only going to get worse. The conditions were only going to get a lot worse. So what are they going to say here? Um, so the body that they rescued on Friday, they the identity of that person has not been made public, but a family member says that his brother Paul was on board the vessel. His brother Paul was 70 years old, and that there were other well-known people on that boat at the time. So yeah, at 7 a.m., according to the National Weather Service, winds were 24 miles per hour, wave heights of 4 feet, and a water temperature of 39 degrees Fahrenheit, and that air temperature of 12 degrees. And they had freezing spray to deal with. So they're saying here that there was some conjecture that ice buildup on the vessel from that freezing spray might have been a factor in the sinking. And what it does is it makes the vessel top heavy. I mean, it is as good of a theory as anyone has right now. Could be freezing spray, could have been that combined with a rogue wave, which means if the boat is top heavy and it gets pushed, it's going to roll a lot easier than a boat that is not. Let me see if we can find a. I wanted to show you more of the press conference a little bit because they do talk about it, and you would know the Coast Guard guy that is doing the interview. It is the same guy who did the one for the Titan sub. So the Titan sub, same guy, same officer. Let me take you back here.
We have suspended the active search for the missing crew members from the fishing vessel Lily Jean after extensive search efforts yielded no additional results. Over the past 24 hours, the Coast Guard conducted an exhaustive search covering more than 1,000 square miles. Our crews employed multiple aircraft, cutters, and small boats operating continuously in extremely challenging and dangerous conditions. Despite these efforts, we've only located one deceased crew member. 5 crew members and 1 NOAA observer remain missing. This is an incredibly difficult and painstaking decision, but based on the totality of the circumstances, including the frigid water and air temperatures, the length of the time since the vessel sank, the recovery of 1 crew member not wearing a survival suit, and the discovery of an empty life raft, and the exhaustive scope of the search, I believe there is no longer a reasonable expectation that anyone could have survived this long.
There you go. That person that was entangled in some of the gear from the boat was not wearing a survival suit, and they are the only person they've been able to find. So I would guess the chances of the other crewmen to be wearing a survival suit would be pretty low. That is really, really awful news. I know the area of Gloucester will be in mourning for these people. And they were saying in the press conference, the one you just watched, that their names will already be, they have like a memorial to all fishermen who have been left, or not left, but who have been lost at sea. They have a couple. They have one in their town hall and one that's in a public area, and they add the names to people. Like if you die at sea or you're lost at sea, they add the names to it to remember these people forever. So they're saying here that their names will be added to it in the coming days so that the community will have a place to go and remember these people. Hopefully, eventually, we'll get to know who was on the boat and know more about their stories. The Thor said the Titan incident was horrifying. I am still so upset that the young man perished. He did not want to be there, but his father made him. Yeah, I think that was one of the tragedies that we heard about with the Titan sub. The other people, there was a lot of people who were there because they were rich. There was one person there that was a mental patient. That's the guy who owned it. And yeah, the son I feel very sad for because he didn't want to go and he was very scared about it. So I feel sorry for that kid that he just did what his dad wanted him to do and he ended up dying because of it. This one's very different. These were men working to bring home a paycheck and supply the area with fish and seafood and just do their job. That's what they were doing, and they did not get to come home, which is anytime someone doesn't make it home from work, I think we all can relate that it's very hard when someone leaves and then they're supposed to come back and they just don't. And all they were doing was doing what we all do every day and go to work. And that's always hard to sort of deal with. Missy said, I don't think they suffered long. I don't think they can stay in the water more than a few minutes before they pass away. Most likely. Most likely. It's not very long. Kelly said, right, he was a crazy person. Yeah. I believe that everyone should have known the history of that boat before they handed over their money and agreed to be on that vessel. I think if he had told people the history of it and the failures that they had, the stuff that came up with the Coast Guard hearings, I don't think anyone in their right mind would have ever gone on the Titan sub, ever. But the fact that he hid it from his clients and all he gave a crap about was their money, um, you know, Rush wanted to be remembered as a pioneer, as an explorer, as someone who pushed the boundaries. And I think he will not be remembered for that. I think he'll be remembered as someone who broke industry standards, didn't follow the well-known rules of engineering, and ended up killing a bunch of people because he thought he knew better, and he didn't. And he didn't. It was proven with the Titan sub that he didn't know better, that carbon fiber isn't a better substance to use than steel. And they had already had cracks in it. They already had failures. They already had to replace the hull once before because of fractures in it. And yeah, I mean, just very stupid. A very stupid guy. Marylander said $250,000. Yep. I think that was even the discounted rate. I think originally it was like 500,000, but they were selling it for like 250,000 because they didn't get enough interest in it. Donna said they were all rich and they could have investigated the company. They could have, that's right. But you know, Rush hid behind that waiver form, and he was like, yeah, I guess when you do these type of adventures, there's always that form you have to sign that says you won't sue someone if you die and X, Y, and Z. So it probably seemed all very normal for this type of activity. But yeah. Kelly said there was an inquiry I watched the other day of a couple who were on the trip before the last one. Super interesting. There was quite a few people who had been on the Titan who had experienced shutdowns, failures, dead in the water. Like they had gone in the sub and it just shut down and they had to get towed back to the ship. Lucky they weren't very far down when it happened. And then we had these people who went down and kaboom, imploded and just obliterated in a split second because of the pressures. Uh, it seemed like it was always going to happen. Kelly J said some of them did investigate and still went. A lot of the information wasn't public. A lot of the information that we found out during the Coast Guard investigation and court appearances that they did, a lot of that stuff we hear now, and we're like, oh, well, I would never have done that. A lot of that stuff was only known to some people. Some of the stuff that went wrong with the Titan was known throughout the industry, but some of it only came out when we had that Coast Guard hearings. So I don't know. I still feel sorry for the son. You know, he was still just trying to do what he did for his dad, and his dad wanted him to go, and so he went, and now he is in the bottom of the ocean, and he's not. I mean, they found some of them, but he's no longer with us. Hey Donna, how are you, my friend? How are you? Um, but we're talking about the Lily Jean here. Very sad. So they're saying here, when that EPIRB originally went off, the Coast Guard issued an urgent marine information broadcast and launched a Jayhawk helicopter crew from Air Station Cape Cod and a small boat crew from Station Gloucester to search the area. And then they ended up finding that debris field, which included an empty life raft. Awful. You know, if they had just made it to that life raft, they probably would be here today, because people found them within an hour. Within 1 hour, they had crews on that area, and they may have lived. They may have survived. Um, yeah, just terrible. So what happens now? They're gonna have to do this investigation with the Coast Guard, and it's probably gonna take a long time. These Coast Guard investigations can be anywhere from half a year to 3 years. Can be 3 years before we actually get a final report. So, I don't know how long this particular one will take, but it's gonna take a while. Now, a lot of people are saying, "Will they go down and retrieve the vessel?" I don't think so, but stranger things have happened, and they might want to understand what happened to it, if there is anything left after they found pieces of it on the surface of the water. They might, but they don't normally. Gail said they maybe went down with the ship. I suspect that is probably the case, which, if you are to believe the theory that's going around, that it either got hit by a rogue wave or got ice buildup and became top heavy and then got rolled, if it became upside down and then it got submerged, there's a chance that they never got out of the ship, that they never found a way to get, you imagine you're upside down, everything's sort of backwards, and it's the mirror image of what you remember, and you're trying to get out onto the deck, which is now upside down, and then out and up onto the surface of the water. And you have to do it in seconds. It's not an easy feat. And I don't think anyone, you know, can say, yeah, I could do that. I could do that with my eyes closed. I don't think so. It disorientates you. It's very hard to manage in a emergency situation. So if they went down with the ship, they may still be with the ship. Um Sean say they may salvage if viable, but otherwise it will be an artificial reef. Yeah, I wouldn't think they're gonna go get it. It may be too deep, it may be in a bad area, who knows? Kim says, not to mention without a suit. Yeah, the cold would affect you almost instantly. It almost takes your breath away, and you can't breathe. And then you got to combine that with panic, and then trying to fight for survival. And you're trying to do this in water temperatures that are almost making it feel like it is crushing your rib cage. I don't think anyone could just say, I could do that every day of the week. It's very difficult. Gail said, but they would have had their suits on if they had been above deck. They found one guy and he had no suit. So who's to say any of them had a suit on? I mean, the one person they found had nothing. So I wouldn't be thinking that they all do. The Thor said, "Is it still true that the captain is supposed to go down with the ship?" I saw a thing today about the captain, which his photo was up here. Where is it? Let's put him up on the screen. Here it is. Um, I saw a thing today from some people who know him, and they said if there was anyone that would have gone down with the ship in its final moments, it was going to be him, because he lived and breathed the ocean, and it would have been like the only place he'd want to be in his demise. So I did hear that from some people who knew him, and I mean, yeah. Gail said the last man to leave. Yep, I wouldn't be surprised if he took that very seriously, being he's been a captain for decades. He's an old sea dog who is made of salt water. This dude's been around for a very long time. Very, very long time. So, like, he filmed that episode of Nor'eastermen back in 2012, like over almost, what is it, like 13, 14 years ago now. and he was crewing before that too. So he is a well experienced captain, and yeah, sad, very sad. Here's a photo of the boat if you haven't seen it. Beautiful boat. There you go. There's the Lily Jean. So there it is. Um, Huge boat. You think about the forces it takes to manipulate this boat or roll that boat. It's not a small vessel, it's quite big. Kelly J said, I've heard many true captains or sea lovers have that mentality. And yeah, and it came from people who knew him. So I wouldn't be surprised if that is what has happened and that he was not going to leave that boat unless he could get his crew off the boat first. So that is his responsibility as captain. Sean says, a boat this big can seem fine right up until it isn't. And that could have been what happened because we got no SOS, no satellite call. They had actually spoken to the like to land not long before that. They had spoken to them, telling them that they were coming in, saying that they were done and they were going to come in. They had an equipment problem and that they were not going to stay out in the ocean. So at one point, their communications worked. So it's not like a communication failure because they had spoken to the port already. SPM1 said, and be known many of shipmen, and yes, almost all captains of ship are honorable. You don't make it in that industry if you are not. That is the thing that everyone's been saying about him, that he's a lovely guy. Everyone loves him. He knows everyone, and he just would have a giant smile on his face whenever he saw people he knew, and he would just be a typical nice guy. So sad to lose all those people. Blaze said, I lost my 21-year-old cousin. 3 went down, 3 sunk right after it flipped over. It was so sad. He was the oldest of all our cousins. Must be very hard to lose someone in the water because you may never get them back again. And I can understand the pain of that. So I'm sorry to hear about your cousin. Fishing is a very dangerous industry. Even if you're not in Boston, even if you're not in this particular area, which is known as a difficult area, you could be fishing in the tropics, and the tropics have their own set of dangers and um, things that go wrong. There's anytime you're on the water and you're not on land, there's always a risk. So these guys go out there knowing that, and they do it because they do their best to mitigate the risks that they can. Yeah, very, very awful story. I saw this pop up yesterday, late yesterday or early yesterday. And I was like, oh, I was sitting here praying, going, please find them. Please find them. Just I was hoping that maybe the first thing they saw was not quite correct. And they went, oh, okay, that was a debris field, but we found people in a separate life raft or something. But it doesn't seem like we're going to get that. It seems like with the search called off, that's probably it. That's probably it, unfortunately. Let me just check if there's one more. There was one other video that I wanted to show to you about it. Let me have a look. I think it's over here. I think it's with WCVB Channel 5 in Boston. Is it this one? It must be this one.
Breaking tonight, the Coast Guard is suspending its search for missing crew members from a fishing vessel lost off the coast of Cape Ann. 7 people were on board the Lily Jean when it sank. 1 body has been recovered. Our Todd Kaskiewicz is in Gloucester tonight with the latest details.
The Coast Guard says this difficult decision was made by factoring in the amount of time that has passed since the distress call Friday morning and the cold, dangerous conditions at sea.
We have suspended the active search for the missing crew members from the fishing vessel Lily Jean after extensive search efforts yielded no additional results.
After searching for more than 24 hours and covering more than 1,000 miles in the ocean, the U.S. Coast Guard is calling off the search for the Lily Jean, a 72-foot fishing vessel last known to be about 25 miles off the coast of Cape Ann.
They searched all day. They searched all night. They searched again in the early hours of this day.
We've only located one deceased crew member. 5 crew members and 1 NOAA observer remain missing.
The Coast Guard was initially alerted by an emergency position indicating radio beacon around 6:50 a.m. Friday. The search by air and sea started immediately. Only a debris field was found at the ship's last known position.
The loss of the Lily Jean ripples through this community and through this entire Commonwealth.
Flowers at the Gloucester Fisherman's Memorial, the man at the wheel, are an unmistakable sign that this community, with its proud 400-year history of fishing, despite the dangers of the sea, is in mourning.
My crew member that fished for me for 8 years, up to last month, his brother and son were on the boat. So he lost his brother and his nephew.
There are people on this boat that I've known for years that I felt like brothers. And it's so hard on the community.
While the names of the victims have not been released to the public, there is a way that you can help their families. Officials say donations can be made through fishingpartnership.org, and make a note that the money is to be donated to the families impacted by the shipwreck of the Lily Jean. Reporting in Gloucester, Todd Kiskiewicz, WC.
And I hope the community does that, goes to that website and helps out the family and the other people impacted by it. What I understand is the local community will do a bunch of their own fundraising too, and they will also have a few events where they will have time as a community to reflect and pay homage and tribute to all these people. So the town can mourn together and remember they're very, like I said, a lot of them were well known. A lot of them were local people or not from that far away. Worked in the industry for years. Had friends in all different parts of the fish shops, the wholesalers, all different things. So they are well known. So let's see. Sean says he has his own personal connection to it. Very interesting, Sean. All right, let's have a look. Montana said, so tragic to be lost at sea for the family that is left behind. I think all family would like to get their loved ones back, like we talk about in true crime. It helps provide not closure, but it helps to provide answers and sort of like closure, but there is no true closure. But it allows them to give them somewhere to go to put people to rest, to have a place to go and remember them. But I feel like people who live and work in fishing families always have in the back of their mind that this may be a reality one day, and that they more than most people would understand what it means if you end up happening to your family. So really awful, really awful. The Thora says, big hug to Ping and Mrs. Ping and Ping's sidekick Muffin. He's over there sleeping right now. He's on the floor, just curled up in a ball. He's having an afternoon siesta. Mrs. Ping's over here. Actually, you guys may be wondering, I said yesterday that I wasn't going to do a show tonight, and you guys might be like, Ping, why are you on at a decent time? We didn't end up going to that family member's birthday. Mrs. Ping's not feeling all that great, so we decided to stay home tonight, or today, and not go to this function. So you guys get to hang out with me instead. You guys get to do a show with me. Where's that cat going? Hold on. Sorry about that. One of the cats just took off, and I was like, where are they going? There's nowhere for them to go. So I was worried because they don't normally just take off at a million miles an hour when they're sleeping. So one of the cats just went ballistic. Yeah, everyone's saying feel better to you. Yeah, she's just not, I don't know, just had a rough week. Had a rough week. She's not feeling that great. Gayla said Rory heard Muffin was being good. Yeah, that's why she's now playing up. So she's just taken off at a million miles an hour down the hallway. We have a ghost. I swear we have a ghost. Did you hear that? No. It sounded like the fridge. We got a new fridge and it makes weird noises. It sounds like ice is falling or something. It freaks us out a little bit. So yeah, no, it's not that. Thoris said, "Wake up, Muffin. We want to see him." Muff, hey, do you want to come? Hey, Bubba, you want to come say hello? Hey, buddy. All right. I'll get him for you. Hold on. Hey, bud. Yeah. Hey, come here. You want to say hello to all the people? Hey, wow, we knocked over stuff. Hey, look, say hello to people. There you go. Say hi, Mom. Say hi. There you go. Do you want to speak on the microphone? No, he wants to get down. There you go. He knocked over my drink. We don't keep drinks near the computer anymore after we sprayed soda water all over the computer like 2 years ago. So we don't keep drinks down there. So we keep them a little further away now. So he knocked it off. All right, there we go. There's Muffin. He's going to go back to sleep, and yeah, that's all you get of him today. A cat cam. I mean, there is a way we can run double cameras, but I've never done it. I know there's other channels that do that. Marilyn said there was a commercial from the 80s for Gorton fish sticks with guy playing Gloucester fisherman in a yellow raincoat and a hat. Really? I have never seen that one. Carolina said, my mom had a fridge that sounded like someone was inside knocking to get out. That's freaky. Like a trapped soul inside of the fridge. How weird. Chipmunk said, love seeing the fur babies. Oh, yeah. He's going back to bed. Do not open the drink. It is not a carbonated drink. So it is okay. Chipmunk said, there's a little guy in the fridge that turns the light on and off. The noises are him climbing over the food. I hope not. I hope there's not a borrower in my fridge, like those little borrower people. I hope not. All right. Let's keep going. We have a few updates. There was a update out of Nevada that I really want to go to and talk about because it is very interesting. Why is my stuff not set up? Yeah. Did you guys hear this out of Nevada? That police are announcing an investigation into a biological lab in an East Las Vegas home. Biological lab. The F. The F. We're going to talk about it. There's a couple of updates for it. I want to hear this press conference. So watch this with me and we're going to talk about this. A biological lab.
Sheriff Kevin McMahill with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. With me today is the Special Agent in charge of the FBI, Christopher Delzato, the Chairman of the Clark County Commission, Commissioner Michael Naft, and then Deputy Chief of the Fire Department, Chief Holding. First off, I would like to just make sure that our Southern Nevada community clearly understands this, that this is an isolated incident and there is no threat to the public as we stand here today. Our joint investigation early this morning at approximately 5:51 began when the LV.
That microphone is horrible. Hold on, I'll find a better version. Hold on. There's got to be a better version of that press conference. That's horrid. Maybe they got a Facebook page. Let's have a look. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, here we go. There we go.
Is the
There we go. All right. This should play in a second.
All right. Good afternoon. I'm Sheriff Kevin McMahill with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. With me today is the Special Agent in charge of the FBI, Christopher Delzato, the Chairman of the Clark County Commission, Commissioner Michael Naft, and then Deputy Chief of the Fire Department, Chief Holding. First off, I would like to just make sure that our Southern Nevada community clearly understands this, that this is an isolated incident and there is no threat to the public as we stand here today. Our joint investigation early this morning at approximately 5:51 began when the LVMPD SWAT team served a search warrant on a house on Sugar Springs Drive in Northeast Las Vegas. The warrant was related to information that a possible biological laboratory was inside of the residence. At the same time, our partners from the FBI searched their nearby home on Temple View Drive. There was no threat found at that home. And as you'll notice playing next to me while I'm talking, you'll see some of the video from our two SWAT teams conducting those raids. However, at the Sugar Springs Drive home, our teams went inside and found evidence of possible biological material, including refrigerators with vials containing unknown liquids. Our all-hazard armor team is working hand in hand along with all of the hazmat teams locally, along with the FBI, the fire departments, and all of our state partners to ensure proper recovery and mitigation of these items. This is an extremely complex investigation, obviously involving multiple agencies and a tremendous amount of resources. I want to make sure that those folks that live up there in that northeast area have a clear understanding that the very large first responder presence will likely remain in this neighborhood for several hours and potentially even days. This has to be a slow and methodical process by design. We have to take these situations very seriously, and we take all necessary precautions to keep our personnel and community safe. I would like to thank the hard work of all of our tactical assets, the hazmat teams, our police officers and firefighters, state and federal partners on the scene. The situation is being contained and everyone is safe. With that, I'd like to give the opportunity to our great FBI Special Agent in charge, Christopher Delzato, to further discuss this joint investigation and the related deployment of federal resources. Chris?
Thank you, Sheriff. Good afternoon. Again, Chris Delzato, I'm the Special Agent in charge of the FBI office here in Las Vegas. The FBI plays a crucial role in supporting our state and local law enforcement partners regularly, providing resources and cutting-edge capabilities to assist in our investigations. Our laboratory division in Quantico offers a range of specialized services routinely used to advance complex cases, including our evidence response team, scientific response analysis unit, and the technical hazards response unit. These resources are not limited to exceptional cases. They are an integral part of the FBI's commitment to law enforcement collaboration. We provide these services regularly to ensure our partners have the tools they need to solve crimes, protect their communities, and bring perpetrators to justice. Our ongoing partnership with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department underscores the importance of teamwork in addressing crime and upholding the rule of law. The FBI will always stand firm in our support of our state and local law enforcement agencies every step of the way. At this time, I'd like to highlight the capabilities of the FBI resources that were brought here to Vegas to assist in today's investigations. The Evidence Response Team Unit. This unit provides traditional and hazardous evidence collection capabilities to FBI field teams and law enforcement partners. The unit also provides forensic training, resources, and expertise in support of the FBI's investigative priorities.
Okay, so I reviewed the press conference data sheet that they gave out while you guys were listening to that. Okay, at 5:51 a.m. this morning, LVMPD SWAT served a search warrant on a house on Sugar Springs Drive where evidence of possible biological material, including refrigerators with vials of unknown liquids, were found. Meanwhile, the FBI searched a nearby house on Temple View Drive and found no threat. They're saying here that the LVMPD All Hazard Armored Hazmat Team is collaborating with local hazmat teams, the FBI, fire departments, and state partners to ensure proper recovery and mitigation. This is an extremely complex investigation, obviously involving multiple agencies and a tremendous amount of resources. They emphasize the importance of a slow and methodical process to ensure safety, noting that a large presence of first responders may remain in the area for several hours to several days. But the thing is, they won't tell us what they found or why, but they said it came in as a tip. So someone rang it in and said that there may be a biological material or a lab in a home in the area, but they won't tell us what it is or what they found, just that it's biological, and they found vials in a fridge. It sounds very spooky. I don't think I've ever heard of a biological raid before for a biological lab. It's very, very, very strange. Let me see if I can find out more about it. But the fact they're going to be there for several days, I'm just trying to see if I can find out anything else here. Yeah, just that they found biological material to include refrigerators with vials containing unknown liquids. Very, very odd. Just trying to see if there's any suggestion of what it could be. But no one seems to know exactly what they were looking for inside of it, inside of this home. Yeah, let me see. Just said law enforcement revealed reports of a possible biological lab prompted the search of an East Las Vegas home early Saturday morning. Investigators recovered evidence of possible biological material, including refrigerators with vials containing unknown liquids. That's it. That's all they will give us. Just like, what else could it be? Yeah, let's go out to KSNV News 3 in Las Vegas. Let's see if we can go out there. Yeah, I'm just trying to go out to.
This is an isolated incident, no threat to the public. right. Good afternoon. I'm Sheriff Kevin McMahill with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. With me today is the Special Agent in charge of the FBI, Christopher Delzato, the Chairman of the Clark County Commission, Commissioner Michael Naft, and then Deputy Chief of the Fire Department, Chief Holding. First off, I would like to just make sure that our Southern Nevada community clearly understands this, that this is an isolated incident and there is no threat to the public as we stand here today. Our joint investigation early this morning at approximately 5:51 began when the LVMPD SWAT team served a search warrant on a house on Sugar Springs Drive in Northeast Las Vegas. The warrant was related to information that a possible biological laboratory was inside of the residence. At the same time, our partners from the FBI searched their nearby home on Temple View Drive. There was no threat found at that home. And as you'll notice playing next to me while I'm talking, you'll see some of the video from our two SWAT teams conducting those raids. However,
To have a response this big, like, look at all the people that came out for this. This is not like, oh, we got a tip that some guy, I don't know, was making his own, beer with a yeast or something, and it's biological yeast. This is like level 1, multiple friggin' departments and associations and 3-letter alphabet titles. I want to know what exactly might have been biological and what exactly were they doing? Yeah, how could they know the public is safe when they've got first responders who may be there for up to a week? What exactly was in that home? Yeah, they had to have something. They obviously got tipped off by someone, which they did say that a report came through. So someone tipped them off. But to what exactly? Kaliza said, sounds like they don't want to freak us out, and it's something way more serious than they want us to ever know. Yeah, I believe it's could it be something to do with like terrorism? Like, yeah, like I Hate Morning says something like anthrax. I mean, could they be like trying to make it? I don't know. That's right. Kelly J said, you know it's serious when they bring out the alphabetical agencies. The 3-letter alphabetical agencies. You get a lot of them, you know shit's gonna go down. Oh, I did? Oh, thank you, my friend. The Thor says, thank you, Ping. So good to see Muffin. Hugs to Mrs. Ping. I am so very honored to be your member. I am so very proud of you, Ping, for your show. You are truly the best. Muffin gets an extra treat for waking up and saying hi. Thank you. I appreciate it. I will put that towards we're saving up to go to the trial in April for Patrick Stevenson and Samantha Murphy. So I will put that towards the trial in April. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. Montana says, alarming news, they are trying to downplay the danger. I don't think you keep emergency services out on a property for a week if it wasn't something very serious, like something that could affect a lot of people. It is I think we're going to hear a lot more about this when they have dismantled whatever this is and contained it. We're then going to get a second press conference where they're actually going to tell us exactly what it was. So they're saying here that it is a discovery of an illegal biolab in Reedley with links to the Chinese government. Is that true? That is coming from a... Yeah. No, that was a different one. Apparently they discovered an unlicensed biolab discovered in Reedley, California in 2023, which was operated by a Chinese national who had been indicted on federal charges of conspiracy, wire fraud, and distributing misbranded medical devices. But that was back in 2023. So they had found a biological lab a couple of years ago. But is this the same thing, I wonder? Is this along the same lines? Is this anything along the same type of thing? Because they are sort of describing it in the same way. Biological lab, they found vials of something inside of a fridge. All right, let me try and find out more. There's got to be more information. Biological. Okay, this is interesting. According to this report, they also deployed another division of the Nevada National Guard. The Guard's 92nd Weapons of Mass Destruction Civil Support Team was also involved in the investigation. Did you hear that? The National Guard's 92nd Weapons of Mass Destruction and Civil Support Team. That might give you a clue into what they might have found inside of that house. So with them saying, oh, there's no threat to the public, I don't know. That is one of the divisions that got brought out there. Who's got a low volume? I got a low volume? No, I think my volume's fine. I can see it on the screen bouncing up and down. I'm okay. I don't know about you. Chipmunk said, lots of terrorists among us. Sadly, they also work in power plants. I am very confused. I reckon once they contain it and get rid of it or take it somewhere, I reckon then we're gonna find out exactly what was in there. But whatever this is, check out that thing we had on the screen before. Is that a portable decontamination area? Look at this. That's what that looks like. A portable like when you get stuff on you, they decontaminate you. That's what that looks like. And you have a shower and they like scrub you down, and that's what it looks like. A hazmat working area. So I know it's probably more for like precaution, but the fact that they have to do this, who knows what could have been in there? Yeah, they can't keep it quiet now. You know, they say there's no threat to the public. Yeah, you sure about that? What if something got out from the fridge? What if something leaked out into the neighbor's property? You know, what if he's been hiding stuff in the backyard? Like, you never know. Let's have a look. How is there not more information about this? There's got to be more. Let's go out to 8 News now in Las Vegas. Let's see if they have anything. Let's see if I've got anything for you. Yeah, but they're not going to give us much. All right.
One person arrested today after an FBI and SWAT raid revealed a biological lab at a home in the Northeast Valley. Thanks so much for joining us tonight at 6 o'clock. I'm Sasha Loftus. This all happening near Washington and Hollywood today. That's where we find 8 News Now reporter Aaron Ariano live near that home with the latest in the investigation. Aaron.
Yeah, Sasha, we're learning new details after that press conference wrapped up earlier this afternoon with Sheriff McMahill and the FBI. The house in question that was raided was right here behind me on Sugar Springs Drive. Take a look at the scene. There's still some active police activity, but over to where I was standing on my left, the camera's right, is a pile of disposable bags. We're not sure exactly what's in it. We know the hazmat team was here earlier today, and that there was a pile of bags being guarded by that police vehicle. It was at that home here along Sugar Springs Drive where they found possible biological material, including refrigerators with vials containing unknown liquids. It was part of a search warrant conducted just before 6 o'clock this morning at 2 homes. They cleared 1 home, but police say they found those unknown biological substances in that Sugar Springs Drive home. The hazmat teams, like I said, were called in. The sheriff is calling this investigation extremely complex, but he made it clear that there is no threat to the public.
Want to make sure that those folks that live up there in that northeast area have a clear understanding that the very large first responder presence will likely remain in this neighborhood for several hours and potentially even days. This has to be a slow and methodical process by design. We have to take these situations very seriously.
Like Sasha said, 1 person was taken into custody, but it's not known who that person is or what tipped law enforcement off to this really bizarre discovery. A lot more questions than answers. That's according to the sheriff himself. So we're going to continue to follow this investigation. For now, reporting live here near Sugar Springs Drive, Aaron Ariano, 8 News Now.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty good roundup. I think everything he said is what I'm thinking. There is not a lot of information, but the fact that they're talking things like complex and methodical, it must be, I reckon it's more dangerous than they're telling us. Kelly says, we just need decontamination equipment, but no worries, nothing to see here. Yeah, they arrested 1 person. A woman has still said he's nuts if he thinks we believe that line. They always say that. There's something going wrong, for sure. SP Mom said, I'd like to see the neighborhood in the day and how far the house is from others. Anyone in our old neighborhood as far away as we are from neighbors would never know. I think they're pretty close. I think the homes are pretty close to each other. Maybe the neighbors called it in. Maybe they saw something. Yeah, you might be right. I don't think they cleared the neighborhood, but they shut down a couple of streets. That's what they did. Freaky, if you live in Las Vegas, on the east end of Las Vegas, I really worry about you. Let's have a look. Let's see if we can get to the property. And so what was it was, I know the street, so hold on. Let me see if I can find it. It was called like spring something. Let's see if we can find the street. Sugar Spring Drive here. So the street is right here. Not this one. Here. Sugar Springs Drive right here. So it's a cul-de-sac, and they shut down this street here. So, and what's here? I don't know what this is, but something for the Mike O'Callahan MS-13 Learn Academy. Okay. So this is the street right here. And as you can see, the neighbors are quite close to each other. There you go. So they're not far away. Maybe the neighbors did pick up on something. Maybe one of the neighbors doing something very strange. Let's have a look down the street. I mean, I don't see anything. Maybe this home right here. What is all the crap in the backyard? Look at all this. Is this the home? They almost look like chemical bottles or something. I don't know if they are, but considering everyone else's backyard is pretty tidy, this particular one is not. Let's have a look. I don't know if it is these people, but that was back in July of 2023. So a pretty quiet street any other day. And the homes are, typical, beautiful American style homes. I love these type of homes, and we don't have them in Australia very much. These giant homes that you guys have in Arizona and Nevada. But oh, look. So we got blocked out for some reason. Why? I don't know. Why did they whoever this person is, they want their home blurred. For what reason? I don't know. Maybe this is where it's happening. They're like, we'll blur the home out. Yeah, they're sort of like mansions. Yeah. Espion says some of our favorite ex-Mormon friends are in Las Vegas. Oh, you're talking to someone? Who are you talking to? You know, the chat is not showing me everyone in the chat. It's very annoying. I can't see very many people. Yeah, I can't see the comment that she's talking about. Espion said, I prefer my home blurred. When you buy the home that you tick a box and you're like, do you want your home blurred? Naked person in the window? Maybe. Maybe that's why they blurred it. It's just strange. All right, let's go here. Google gave everyone the option to blur their home due to privacy reasons. I could have done it with my home. Ah, I did not know that. All right, let's go back to Nevada. Let me have a look. Yeah, I can't find much more. It seems like everyone has the same type of information, unfortunately. No. So they found the home on the 1st of February 2026 after the FBI and local SWAT teams executed a search warrant. When they found the one in California, apparently that one contained thousands of genetically modified mice and samples of potential pathogens like malaria, HIV, tuberculosis, COVID-19, with one freezer labeled Ebola. But that one was the one in Reedley back in 2023, not the one we're talking about today. So the one we're talking about today is a different one. Yeah, it looks like the only thing we're going to get told right now is possible biological material and refrigerators with vials containing unknown liquids. So we're going to have to just wait, apparently. But yeah, could be out there for up to a week. It's crazy. Lindy said, we had a mafia guy down the street and he had his home blurred. Probably so people don't shoot him. Gayla said, was it Nevada where the Cybertruck came from? That yeah, I think so. I think it was in Nevada or something. Yes, Kelly said, was there a second home search on another street at the same time? There was, but in the second house they didn't find anything. So Lindy said crooks sometimes use it to plan burglaries. Okay. Yeah. Very strange. You guys, I've never heard of a biological lab before. I find that freaky, like absolutely freaky. All right, hold on. Let me see what else we got updates from. When we have more on that lab, I will let you know, okay? Oh, let's head to Florida for an update in a story that we had done before, okay? Because you're gonna want to hear the update for this. If I can get this to load. Yeah. Let's go to Fox News in Florida.
New charges will now hold a woman accused of molesting multiple teenage boys behind bars. Prosecutors say now 23-year-old Alyssa Zinger had sexual relationships with 4 more victims who were 13 and 14 years old.
This defendant lived a full life masquerading as a 14-year-old girlfriend to a true 14-year-old.
Zinger was first arrested in November.
Let me just read it to you because it sounds very quiet to me. But you may remember Alyssa Zinger. Now, she's accused of essaying middle school boys, and she is now saying that she is the victim because her father claims that she has long-standing mental disabilities. Her father says she had a lot of problems growing up. Our daughter has been to 10 to 12 psychologists and psychiatrists throughout her life. He also stated that she has a limited intellect, saying that she once received an intelligence quotient score of 72, well below the standard average of 100. Okay. He says on that basis, he argued the legal system has mischaracterized her case entirely. He says she's defective, mentally defective. And do you know what that means under the law? If somebody is mentally defective and has sex with somebody, no matter their age, it's illegal to have sex with someone who is mentally defective. In actuality, my daughter is the victim. I don't think that's how it works, buddy. I don't think you can try and spin this around and try and tell us that your daughter is disabled. How does that work? Would really like to know how you think you can get away with it by just going, yeah, my daughter, she has an IQ of 70. So actually, she is the victim. My daughter is the victim, not the middle school boys that she was messing with. Come on, we have heard some parents say some absolutely outrageous things on this channel before, but that might almost be the best one we've heard so far, really. That is terrible. How could you do that and actually come out in the public domain and say something like that about your own daughter? Insane. Let me take you back to when this originally happened, and I want to show you like back when it originally happened. Hold on. Yeah, let's go here.
The woman accused of posing as a 14-year-old and molesting multiple teenage boys will remain in jail until her trial. Alyssa Zinger appeared in court today to ask a judge for the chance to post bond, but that won't be happening anytime soon. Fox 13's Aaron Mesmer is in our newsroom tonight. So, Aaron, what happened in court today?
Allie, prosecutors argued if she's out of jail, Zinger is a danger to the community and more specifically to underage boys, and the judge agreed. But before he did, we heard a lot more about how detectives say she tricked one of her victims.
On one state of Florida versus Alyssa Zinger.
Alyssa Zinger was back in court and asking a judge for the chance to be released from jail before her trial. But Hillsborough prosecutors believe she could strike again.
This case represents only one of the multiple juvenile male victims that Ms. Zinger was not only contacting and having sexually explicit messages with through social media, but also meeting and having actual sexual contact with.
Zinger is accused of using social media to convince young teenage boys that she was also a teenager. Tampa police first arrested her last November. Detectives say she befriended students from Woodrow Wilson Middle School in Tampa over Snapchat. Court documents revealed she participated in at least 30 sexual acts with one student. That investigation triggered at least 4 more reports from teenage boys, including the case that landed Zinger in court Monday.
They did in conversation speak about specific sexual acts and engaging in sexual activity with each other.
And they took their relationship beyond just conversations. Tampa Police Detective Amanda Baranowski testified.
So that occurred on the 20th of November, 2022.
So within a few days of these, the beginning of these conversations.
Yes, ma'am.
Baranowski says in this case, the boy was just 14 years old and was convinced Zinger was 16. She was actually 21 at the time. She's also accused of posing as a 14-year-old in other situations, and the detective said there could be additional victims. Still, the defense asked the judge to give Zinger the chance to get out of jail and to consider her psychological issues stemming from bullying.
It's important to understand who Alyssa Zinger is and that she is not a normal 22-year-old.
Prosecutors said that's not good enough, and the judge agreed to hold her in jail.
You know, it's not good enough. We all know right from wrong. This young lady knows right from wrong. She's grown up in a household with parents. She understands why this situation would be wrong. She is not that mentally defective like her father says, that she could not understand the gravity of her situation. You can't bullshit your way out of everything. You can't. And as much as her father wants to do that, you can't just, talk your way out of, CAing a child. Her actions show you that she knew it was wrong. The fact that she was lying about her age and telling these young people that she was the same age as them to get into, their world, to talk to them, to communicate, it shows you. Otherwise, if she did not think it was wrong, she would just give them her real age. She is no different from a male who would do this to a young girl. So let's not treat her any differently just because she's a little bit pretty. Let's not. Can't do that. That's not okay. She has to be treated the same as if this was a male of the same age targeting, middle school girls. And I think the whole of society would be up in arms if a male was doing that with middle school little girls. So the situation here should not be any different. You can, her father can go on about how she's mentally defective all she wants, but I think investigators will be able to prove that she understands right from wrong. And to try and spin it around and say that she's actually the victim, you have to be an absolutely deluded person to even try and put that out in public. So I question her father severely. The fact that he would come out and say those type of things about his own daughter and then try and say, well, no, actually, she's the victim in all of this, tells me that her role models at home are pretty crap. The fact that this is what he would rather teach his daughter, not to accept responsibility for the consequences of her actions, but instead to lie and try and spin things around and try and twist it so that it's a victim mentality. And it seems like that's what she is being taught at home because her dad is giving it out for the public to see. Gayla said, I love my kids, but I'm not going to cover for them. No. SP Mama said, makes me suspect the father and SA. It very well could be. I would not be surprised. She would have got it from somewhere, I think. And I wonder as well as whether she has been abused in her life as well. No, she wasn't. The Thora says, there are so many women in the news for essaying young children. We've done so many stories on it recently. I could open up another channel and devote it solely to women who have been charged as PDF files. I could open up a whole new channel and do stories every day about it because there is just so many of them. It is crazy. Hey Joe, what's up, brother? Sean says maybe it was an empowerment thing. I'm not sure. I have a feeling it's maybe she can't move on from her life from being so popular in high school. And instead of moving on with her life and moving into the adult world, I think it's more the fact that she wants to return to the high school and school area where her life was very different from being an adult. That's my opinion, but I could be wrong. It's just my judging of the case from reading it. Well, we'll see. But yeah, she's not getting that bond, I don't think. Let me double check. I don't think she got it. Let me see if she got that bond. I hope not. So she's being held without bond awaiting trial. Currently slated to go to trial in May of 2026 of this year. She's pleaded not guilty to all charges. She's currently 24 years of age, and she was posing as a 14-year-old homeschooled student on social media platforms like Snapchat and TikTok to lure and essay 5 middle school boys aged between 12 and 15. She currently faces 11 felony counts, including lewd or lascivious battery, lewd or lascivious molestation, possession of CP, and sexual cyber harassment. Her attorneys and family have argued that she has emotional and developmental challenges, suggesting she is mentally unstable and was herself a victim of manipulation by the minors. Someone has to be the adult in the situation. You can try and paint her as a victim, but they are children. Your daughter is the adult. At what point would you like her to accept responsibility for her actions? Because by trying to say that she was manipulated by the minors, you're basically saying that your daughter should walk through life and never accept responsibility for anything she ever does because it is always somebody else's fault. You are not teaching your daughter a good lesson. You are teaching her that she can get away with anything and teaching her how to instill a victim mentality in her head so that no matter what she does, she'll always be the victim because that's what you have given her as a reason. It's ridiculous. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think she was manipulated by 13 and 14-year-olds. She's 24. Act your age. Stop it. Like, stop. Your dad needs to stop too. Like, ridiculous. I don't know many parents that would say this type of thing for their adult child. It is. She's going to get. I think she's going to get smacked at trial. Like, I think they're going to come down quite heavy on her in May of this year. What a horrible human being. Blaze says, never really heard of woman RSOs until the teacher who married the, yes, in the 90s. Right. I remember. All right. By the way, no update about the 2 males who were found yesterday. I don't have an update for you at all. The family who were found in WA, I do have an update. It does seem like the theory that we came up yesterday about the parents being in agreement, that seems like that was actually what happened. It seems like the parents planned it and did it. So so it seems like they decided jointly to leave this world with their children, which is very, very sad. Very sad. All right. Let me check here. By the way, I want to thank my friend JDR. JDR, thank you so much for the donation last night. I appreciate it. It's very kind of you, my friend. Let's end on a not a crime, but should be a crime story. Now, I don't know if you saw this one today. I want to talk about dumb people because that is a great topic on this channel. Here is the dumb person. I want you to tell me why this person is dumb. It should be pretty easy. Why is this person dumb? I would love to know your opinions. Look at the photo. Look what's going on. and tell me what you think. What is going on in this photo? I want to know what you guys think. So I'm going to let you write in the chat for a minute and you guys tell me what's going on in this photo. Because yeah, it's not a house cat, it is a snow leopard. All right. This woman was coming back from skiing and she saw a snow leopard in the snow. So do you know what she said? She said, I'm going to walk up to it because I need to get a selfie with a snow leopard. So she crept up to it and got within a foot of a snow leopard. Now, this snow leopard looks very, very upset. His ears are back and he's in that position. Like if you've ever owned a cat, you would know this position. This is their attack pounce position. Like he is ready to absolutely own her. He's in that sort of like, I'm going to get ready to jump and attack you position. His ears are back. He looks very upset. This woman got absolutely brutalized. There's the photo by the snow leopard, and there's the snow leopard on top of her. She was saved by an instructor, but she's going to have lifelong injuries to her face. The only thing that saved her was that she was wearing a helmet. She was wearing a helmet, and it stopped the snow leopard from biting her neck. So it attacked her face. She has deep, deep cuts and injuries to her face. And she was just pouring blood out in the video, just like a tap. Like it was everywhere. And the snow leopard would have killed her had they not intervened. Someone intervened, brought in like a snow ski and was like shooing the leopard away. Leopard got away. Leopard is very safe. It's gone, and they took her to hospital. But you have to wonder what goes through people's minds. Really, how is it that you would think this is a great idea? I'm going to sneak up to a snow leopard and put my skis like about half a foot in front of it. I am not surprised that this leopard absolutely annihilated her. I don't know what goes through people's minds. Do you not think it's a real wild animal? Do you not think it'll attack you? Would you do it with a black bear? Would you go up to a black bear and be like, "Hey, Winnie the Pooh, how are you? Give me like some knuckles. Let's take a selfie. Come here, Winnie the Pooh. Put your arm around me. Well, don't claw. Hey, be nice. Hey, those claws are sharp. Don't do that. Just put your arm over my shoulder. We're gonna take a selfie." Like, would you do that to a black bear? So what makes it okay to do it to a leopard? Some people deserve to be Darwinismed. This lady 100% deserved to die here. You do something stupid like this, you F around and find out. And she found out. She is lucky she is still on this earth, because how many times do you have to be told, don't walk up to wild animals? Like, would you do this with a tiger? If you saw a tiger, would you do this to a tiger? Because it's basically what a leopard is. A leopard is just a tiger. It's a tiger that lives in the mountains. Like what would you like, would you do it to a lion? A lion with the giant mane and the roaring, and would you do that? Walk up to it and be like, "Hey lion, let's take a selfie." I mean, some people are born with like one brain cell. This woman here, one brain cell. Very, very dumb. The resort where she was skiing had issued warnings to not approach leopards, and that if you see them, to keep away from them. And they even told people, don't be walking around on the snow unless you have to be there, because there are leopards around and they are quite violent. They will attack you. So this dumb person decided, hey, let me go up and like take a selfie with it. I'm going to offer it my ski and see what it wants to do. So this lady in hospital, her face annihilated. She'll forever have the reminder of her poor decision making for the rest of her life. She's in a lot of pain, apparently. In hospital, had a lot of stitches. And yeah, very silly lady. By the way, thanks, Sean, for the donation to the PayPal. I appreciate it. You are very kind. All right. I think we've done just about everything we wanted to cover on this Saturday night. I hope you all had a great night. You got a extra show when I wasn't going to do one today. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. We're going to have some fun for the Sunday night show. And I don't know what we're going to do yet. We'll figure it out. And I will see you then. Gayla said, I wonder if she still thinks the photo was worth it. We'll have to get her in for an interview and ask her. What we'll do is we'll bring her in and we'll bring in the leopard and we'll sit them down Jerry Springer style and we'll ask them what they think. And we'll see what the leopard has to say. Hey, I want to thank the Thoris for being a member for 17 months. I want to thank her for the super chat as well and the nice message. I appreciate it very much. Very kind of you. All right. Have a good night out there. If you're in America in the freezing cold, be warm, stay warm. Hey, Joe, good to see you, my friend. I'll see you tomorrow night for the Sunday show. Okay? Peace out, everyone. Bye.